This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Today, one team will move straight to the knockout bracket and 4 more will make their group stage debut. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of VALORANT Champions. Of course, coming at you live here at the Shrine Hall in Los Angeles, California. I am Golden Boy, the bald man that is always yelling at you, joined here by my co-pilot, Mimi, and we got the Smeek himself, Baby Bay, in the house today. Guys, can we just give it up for Baby Bay real fast here? I don't mind. Thank you so much. I love your faces. It's going to be an excellent day. Baby Bay, it's a joy to have you here, man. How you doing?
Honestly, it feels so good to be on a stage again. And like, this stage is sick. The crowd is sick. And I can't wait for it to get more packed. And I can't wait for the energy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the start of the day. It's going to be a good one, though, Mimi.
Yeah, I mean, we've waited so long to have a crowd here in NA, so it's pretty exciting, and to get to have you here for today is going to be great. Bunch more teams making their debut.
Yes.
Yesterday was already just completely breaking our expectations.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the groups bracket because, yeah, yesterday we had some awesome matches to kick things off, right? We were treated to Team Liquid Na'Vi, really getting to see what those EMEA teams could bring to the table, especially having played against each other so much. It was a very unique game. And then, of course, we had DRX versus Loud, a banger that went 3 maps. Mimi, that if we wanted to see these teams return to form, I think they definitely did.
The story of the day was definitely DRX. This was a team that was switching their roster back and forth, was making all these wacky decisions at Tokyo and looked completely done. But they come back here. They bring out some new compositions, new ideas. They stick to one roster, which everyone's been asking for so long.
That's right.
And it works out well to beat a Loud that I think was still struggling, but was in better form than they were in Tokyo.
Yeah, and of course, you saw the matches that we're going to be having coming up today. We have 3 matches for y'all today. It's going to be a long one, so I hope everyone is prepared for this. We, of course, are going to be kicking things off with Evil Geniuses taking on, T1, right? T1 and FUT.
Yes.
My goodness. Mimi, you had to see me yesterday. I was cooking. My brain was absolutely fried. It was wild stuff. But here's the thing. We got 1 day of competition. And I think it's safe to make some hot takes.
Time to draw all our conclusions about every team.
Baby Bay, you came at the perfect time for some hot takes. That's right. All right. So we have where our rating things at here.
Oprah put it under your
seat. Everyone's got them. Okay, here it is. So we have our rating mild. Okay, you can also do pretty spicy, or as I like to say, muy picante, extreme heat. So we have our hot takes. Baby Bay, you're gonna do our first hot take, and we're gonna rate it. What do you got for us?
So my hot take for the day is that Carpe is going to be one of the best players in this tournament.
Okay.
The whole tournament.
The whole tournament.
The whole tournament.
The whole tournament.
Why?
Fascinating. Okay, why is that?
Because I just know this guy from Overwatch League, and he just started playing this game. Like straight up, he just started playing this game. First year in franchising.
Yeah.
Or in partnership, sorry. But he was a franchise player in Overwatch League for every year, and he was a top player every single year. You know this.
Yeah, no, I witnessed it live, you know, like the man is truly incredible. Mimi, do you agree or disagree? What rating are you giving this?
Okay, if it's just dominating the group, I'd give it like a medium amount of spice. If it's like T1's going all the way and he's going to be one of the top players of the entire event, I think that's pretty hot because Carpe did have a great revival. I mean, he looked kind of lost at times in Locket, but then he went out and I think was probably T1's best player at Tokyo.
That's what I'm saying.
And I feel like the guy's only going to get better with another month off.
He looked amazing. I am going with pretty spicy, only because I know this alright.
Yeah.
You're a knower as well.
I am a knower.
You can see it.
I'm a Carpe knower, okay? He probably can hear me, so I don't
Yeah, he's right there. He's right there.
All right, Mimi, what is your hot take? Because I definitely skipped him. So what is your hot take now?
This one, simple. EG, we know, they're a pretty good team.
Okay.
Today, FPX is not getting double digits rounds across both maps in a BO3. They are going to get stomped, I believe. EG is in rare form. FPX, I think, is still very much in their early days of development. They had some roster changes since lock-in. They have a lot of pressure on them coming to NA for their first one. It's probably not that hot, but guys, the favorite's gonna win. Hot take.
I'm gonna hit you with a hard mild on that.
You getting that mild, dude.
And you know, a big part of that is gonna be Demon 1, right? He's just a freak. He's a
How
freak.
few rounds would I have had to say for it to actually be a hot take?
Oh, man. Probably like...
If it was going to be like 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably like
Across
3.
2 maps.
Like they don't win a single pistol round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe something along those lines. You know what, though?
I'll work on that. Surely you have something better.
Well, my hot take, actually, it's crazy how our hot takes have to deal with the matches today.
It's almost like we planned
Mine
that.
is, let me make sure I say it appropriately so that everyone is aware.
Is your hot take scripted? Why do you have to like go research what your opinion is?
My hot take is that T1 will make top 4.
Why did you need to research that?
I don't know.
If you believe that.
I wanted to set it up. Okay, brevity's important, Mimi. Stop yelling at me. God.
I
All
mean,
right, look.
that is extremely hot. That's simply not happening.
T1 are making top 4. I think that they have the capability. They ran into brick walls in Tokyo.
Yeah, and those same brick walls are in this tournament, and
They
there's
are.
more of
But
them.
they've had a month of preparation, a month to get better. This guy already thinks Carpe is going to be one of the best players in the game. So why wouldn't T1 have a miracle top 4 run?
Think about the teams here. EDG, Fnatic, EG. I feel like you already expect them to be in top 4. You have a Na'Vi who's back in form, a DRX. There's just too many teams for that to be believable.
I'm going to rate myself. I think that's heat. Okay?
I don't know if you can
That is
rate
a
yourself.
heat prediction from a guy who's sweating his butt off on this stage. That's right, baby. In any case, though, for more on Group B, let's go ahead and send it over to a couple scientists, people who know what they're talking about. And they're scientists because they have mustaches. It's Brennan Sideshow with another segment of Groupology.
Hello and welcome back to Groupology. We're going to be taking a look at Group B this time, with EG being the clear, undisputed favourites. Bren, that's where I want to start.
Absolute favourite.
EG against FPX.
Okay, I've got the stickers right here.
Okay. I'm going to leave you with that one.
Okay. Yep.
In fact, grab another EG.
There's
grab
no chance
another
they
EG,
lose.
throw them in. There's no chance they lose. They're not losing a map.
The classic egg curse.
No.
All the way through?
The team that went to the finals of Tokyo is going to go out in groups. Go out in groups? That's not happening. That's not happening. All right, grab me another one then. FUT T1.
FUT
I think this
T1.
is a coin flip, personally, Brad.
You want a coin flip?
Yeah, I think it's a coin
well,
flip,
take
frankly.
this. Luckily, I carry a quarter with me in my pocket every single day for occasions like this, and I'll flip it on camera under pressure.
FUT heads, I reckon.
FUT heads? It's heads.
Okay, well, FUT go
Cheating.
through then.
FUT goes through?
FUT goes through, not bad. What a big
Okay.
result from them. And FPX face T1 in the bottom. Now, I think T1 are going
I think T1 take that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
T1 take that. You have to be reasonable.
And that means that we've got FUT T1 again, so flip the coin again, man.
FUT T1.
FUT T1, it's happening
I gotta
again.
find you the sticker first.
Right.
You're overwhelming me.
And FUT is still heads.
I'm gonna flip the coin. It's tails.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for
Losing the
FUT.
lowers? Okay, that's T1.
They should have been tails, shouldn't they?
So T1 go through in the lowers?
So T1 go through.
EG T1, this is a normal group.
Yeah, that's just how it works, Brent.
It's just a normal
That's
group.
how it works when you have an overwhelming favourite that can't possibly lose in groups no matter what.
You've got to rub his head 3 times for good luck to try and counteract the egg curse.
Okay, all right. Interesting takes. The coin there, Mimi. Very, very, very good.
They didn't need the coin. It didn't matter. I mean, this is, I think, the most easily predictable group. T1 is a clear favorite. EG is the clearest of all favorites. They really shouldn't drop a map going through this one. It feels like they have like the perfect trajectory to make it out. Like if Group B isn't the most predictable, if it doesn't go exactly as we think it will, that will be, I think, inherently like the biggest
You know
upsets in the
what,
tournament.
Mimi? I disagree.
How?
You know, honestly, I really do think that this group is going to defy all expectations. If anything, it's going to change the world, the way that we look at Valorant, the way that we think about the sport. And really, I just think that Group B will be the best group in the tournament.
Why are you like preaching?
I think you just changed the world.
You don't believe
with
this.
With this outfit.
That's right, baby. Little head. No, my nose!
You can't even stay being funny. You
character.
can't
I
even
gotta get some
believe it.
plastic surgery for this nose to stay on. Oh, I lost the nose in the desk. In any case, so guys, social media sure is a mess out there these days. Ain't that right? But no matter where you are, use those hashtags, VALORANT Champions and VCT, so we can keep the conversation going all event long, or you can just make fun of me viciously, because honestly, I deserve it. But in any case, so guys, get yourself a minute to go grab a drink, get yourself ready to go. Don't worry, I'll shave all of this off, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about our next matchup. It's going to be awesome. It's FUT versus T1. You don't want to miss it, and we'll see you on the other side.
EG's winning.
Welcome back to day 2 of VALORANT Champions. Up first today, we have a little bit of a Group B action taking place. Here we got FUT going up against T1. Now, this matchup is two teams that are ready to break out, but both finished third in their respective leagues. And when they made it to Tokyo, they were able to pick up, big map wins. Like, these teams have seen upward trajectory, which makes this matchup that much more exciting.
Both these teams got their first international win in Tokyo. These are squads that, for the beginning of the year, were really doubted. Neither really had a great performance at lock-in, going out super early in that tournament, but they both turned things around in their respective international leagues, getting some big upsets, making it international, and then getting that big win. For T1, they were one of the few teams to beat EDG at that event, and for FUT, well, they did beat ASE, who was probably one of the weaker teams at Tokyo. They played close matches against other strong foes, so I think while Tokyo was kind of the breakout, proving that these two teams could compete internationally, this tournament has to be the question, baby, of who can actually rise up and actually make a run at an international event.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, T1 had an amazing tournament. I mean, they did end up losing to EDG in the lower bracket, but they had such a close game to almost win that bracket against NRG. Like, they literally were like, what, one round away? They lost to OT.
They were right there. Yeah,
and had they had won that, we would be saying a completely different story, right? So I think that they proved more for me in Tokyo than FUT did.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, because I felt like at a certain point we kind of saw FUT just look very predictable, and we'll of course dive a little bit more into this, but let's keep our focus on T1 because we actually do have Tom standing by for a quick word with the one and only Sayaplayer from T1. Tom?
And thank you very much, GB. I'm looking to try and catch out Sayaplayer here, of course. Welcome back to the US. Are you happy to be back?
Yeah, I feel like I'm coming back home.
Obviously, you played before in LCQ back almost a year ago now, looking to try and qualify with the Guard. You've now done it with a Korean team instead. How does that feel?
I mean, communication-wise, it's good, and I mean, honestly I miss the Guard a little bit, but yeah, it's good. It feels good.
Either way, good luck today, and hopefully you'll go far in the tournament.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, not remember. I mean, everyone should remember his run on the Guard, but it is something that could be forgettable, especially considering that we've had so much Valorant since then, right? He was on the Guard. He's been playing here. Same thing with Zeta, like all these players, right? I mean, you're familiar with them.
Absolutely, and something I love to see is the booster seat he has with his mouse right now. He brought it back. He retired it for a while, but when he has this booster seat for his mouse, it's just an elevated level. He goes crazy.
Yeah,
like,
which is
absolutely
fascinating
crazy.
When you actually think about it, because I don't know anyone that does that.
He probably has the most unique setup out of any of the players playing here. But I think for him, I mean, T1 is really a team with so many of these Korean players who had competed in North America before. And one of those players is Zeta. At lock-in, one of the biggest issues for T1 was, I think, their calling. They really got muddled in these late rounds. When the initial idea failed, they struggled to adapt. And they switched between lock-in and the Pacific League from Munchkin doing most of the calling to Zeta. And I think Zeta, who used to help call for Cloud9, back then Arrow Infinity was on that team as well, really brought a lot of that mid-rounding and brought almost some of that North American style to Korea, where you're willing to have those really strong set executes, but also to slow down, really focus on playing that mid-round on the attacking side, which worked really well for this team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That was a very smart change for T1 to make, and it just goes to show as well, right? Like how important that caller, the mid-rounding baby, to just be able to do. We've seen teams live or die by that.
Yeah, and scrimming against this team, like from the start to like pretty much now, like I could always tell that they had like a really good like fundamental style, and that does come from Zeta because he was a Counter-Strike player before all this. I mean, you have 3 Overwatch players on the team, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they're the ones that you want using all of these abilities, going crazy on them, but he's that big mastermind behind it all that can wrap it all together and really close out the rounds for them. And I love watching them play slow. I'm not gonna lie. I love when they change the pace and they just start hitting this slow style, and I feel like they have really good odds of winning the round when they do that.
Yeah, and as we move on though to their team, to their opponents, on the other side of the stage, we have FUT, who are going to have to be dealing with that, right? They're going to have to be dealing with a unique style that's been forged in Pacific as well as the Americas League, and also their own individual talent here. But FUT is a team that, Mimi, we wanted to see more of. We got that in Tokyo, but now it's time to see if this squad has layers.
And FUT also, honestly, similar to T1, they play a lot of these slower rounds. They really focus on the mid round. They're at the a team who really brought a lot of structure to Turkish Valorant that was often lacking before. But at Tokyo, I think they got the better of them. Against the stronger squads like EG, they were very readable, predictable, doing a lot the same stuff they did in EMEA. But against looser teams like attacking Seoul, they were pretty successful in punishing that wildness on the fly. For me with FUT, I think we're looking this tournament for them to reinvent themselves a little bit. That structure is good, but they need more variety in their plays so they don't become predictable, against teams like T1 that really will put in that prep.
Yeah, T1 will definitely read you, and I think another big thing for me is, Kiwi is for sure a star player on that team, but we did see him struggle up against the likes of like a Demon 1, and maybe today, we'll have to see if he can bring it back and get his footing against a duelist like Sayaplayer, who kind of has that wild card factor like Demon 1, right?
Yeah, he definitely does. It's actually, if anything, this is a fantastic test for him. Right? Because this is going to tell us, like, for both of these teams, it's going to tell us a lot because both of these teams are structured. They've been built so effectively well. There's so many good elements of these squads, so it's really cool that we're going to see them clash here today. But we actually did get some words in with MrFaliN from Tom. Tom, what you got for us, buddy?
Thank you, GB. Of course, we are joined by the first Turkish team to make champions, MrFaliN. Obviously, you had your performance over in Tokyo. What have the team been doing to level things up for champions?
Well, we just slipped at Tokyo right now, but I think we just learned our mistakes right now, so it's not going to happen on Champions right now. I don't know. The Tokyo was the first big event for the whole team right now, and it's the second one right now, and I think we are ready for it right now.
Do you know what? I believe you've got this. I'm ready for the Turkish power over in LA. Good luck in your game today.
And that actually cannot be stressed enough. Like, this is historical for Turkish Valorant. To have a Turkish team here playing a Champions baby has to feel like just such a weight lifted off of their shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely, like, as a team, that being Tokyo being their first event, like, you got to have a lot of nerves. And maybe that showed in their gameplay, right? So maybe we are going to see a crazy version of FUT today, right? Potentially.
MrFaliN was talking about ahead of Tokyo, how he had always dreamed, even as a kid, of going to Tokyo, and the fact that he got to play there, got to make it there, was such a big accomplishment for him in his career. But I'm sure now as well, heading into Los Angeles, having a second attempt internationally, it's still that moment of, hey, I've made it, I'm living this dream. But it's also now that pressure of, we've had our breakthrough, how much more can we do to be a consistent force on the international stage?
100%, because you can make the case that in Tokyo, it was, hey, first big event for them playing in that kind of atmosphere. And of course, Tokyo was like, the crowd was out of this world. So I totally understand that. But now you're here at Champions. You got to perform. And this is the moment where the pressure is definitely going to be on them, right? You got that first pancake out of the way. Now it's time to look forward and see like what you could do in this tournament. But earlier, Brent actually did get an opportunity to chat with MrFaliN. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at that.
Hey everybody, it's Bren. I'm joined here with a special interview with MrFaliN as well from FUT. I got to say, man, as well, pleasure to see you again. I think we interviewed me and Josh at Tokyo. Tokyo as well, right? And heading into this. So I want to ask you first as well, what's LA like been for you so far? You told me you got in on the 1st of August and you had a bit of trouble when you first landed with your team. Yeah? Would you feel comfortable saying that on the...
It's not going to be a problem. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah, we just want to, that was our first off day, so we just want to explore the city, but on the map, the city looks small, we didn't get it the first time, Yeah,
it's deceiving.
And it's like a city is not using, you're sitting like a mile, so we didn't know that, but on the maps, it's still like kilometers, so we said, okay, it's close, so we can go anywhere, with Uber, when I go to the beach, it says 20 minutes from over here, so that's fine then.
Yeah.
Walk away, but after that, I don't know, we just open the map and it says like, guys, we have a lot of way to go, so let's take Uber. But some of the say, guys, let's take a bike so we can explore the city. So we just walk away to the bike, like 40 minutes, and after the bike, it just still says, there's still 40 minutes to go there.
40 minutes to go again.
Like how? Yeah, again.
Yeah, after walking 40 minutes to the bike station, an hour and a half to get to the beach.
Yes,
and in the scorching sun.
Yeah, and the sun was top of that, and I just get burned. I don't know.
That's brutal. That's brutal. But
first day.
Yeah, welcome to Los Angeles. First day, welcome, man. Well, okay. Unfortunate that happened. Sorry that happened as well. But let's move on.
Experience.
Yeah, that's an experience for sure. You have to bring the sunscreen next time when you go out. But
I will definitely do that.
let's talk about the event itself as well. And I want to touch on Tokyo actually, because you guys, I remember you said that playing in Tokyo was like a dream for you guys, right? And attending that event and on that big stage. How do you feel about your finish at that event itself as well? What were your goals for it? Like, did you feel like you achieved it, or?
No, we didn't. At Tokyo, we just believed ourselves we're gonna make it to playoffs, you know. But there was some, I don't know, particular things didn't happen on Tokyo. So after the Tokyo, when we know that we qualified the champions, we already said ourselves, guys, we just I don't know, did some little small mistakes, so we have to, I don't know, fix them and go to the champions, because it's the last thing and the biggest event on Valorant. Yeah. So our still first goal is, of course, we want to qualify champion, and we are still here right now. But from here, we just have to beat some tier 1 teams to, I don't know, show ourselves here, you know. Because if you do that, then we just, I don't know, be qualified to be here every time. So our team first goal is not gonna make it to playoffs. And after the Tokyo, it's still like a dream. I'm just still being here. But if we make it to playoffs, our team is going to like a top 4 right now, because we already believe it. If we, I don't know, fix our problems after the Tokyo, everyone knows that we can just be qualified. Right? Yeah, because
individually your players are fantastic, right? You're all amazing aimers. Everybody knows this, you know, like the Turkish talent pool when it comes to the aim is amazing, and then we've seen it, right? What do you think were the issues then? Like, what were the things that you were focusing on to fix heading into Champions? Because you had a long period of time where you could practice, about a month and a half, 2 months almost.
Maybe, yeah. I think we don't have any particular to do that, because I think our game plan is still I don't know, like dependable. We don't need to change anything. We just want to add something new, so nobody knows that, you know, if they watch our last games, they need our tricks. But I don't know. I think if we're losing some matches, it's like a, I don't know, for me, maybe miscommunication probably. Okay. Because it happens on the, I don't know, big stage, because with this team, it was a very big tournament. Like, I'm not counting on the EMEA league, because this one, Tokyo, and this one is the bigger one, because every leagues are here. Yeah. So it was a first experience on Tokyo right now, and it's going to be second one. I think there will be no pressure on us right now. I think we will be better with communication right now. So
that's good.
It's going to be fixed, I think.
Yeah. Nice, man. Okay, well, thank you very much for the interview, MrFaliN. I really do appreciate it. Best of luck as well in the tournament.
Thank you.
And we'll send it back.
Always great to hear from MrFaliN, and interesting to hear him say it didn't really change much coming out of Tokyo. I'm curious to see if maybe we're just being gaslit, or if they actually are sticking to their guns, maybe, which could be a little problematic.
Yeah, I think it's that balance. If you try and in a month completely change all of your style, come up with new compositions, it's really easy to burn yourself out. So it has to be kind of that balance of bringing some new stuff to have that element of unpredictability, while not trying to completely change and take a huge risk in doing so.
Very true, very true. Now, of course, another player on the roster that we have to highlight on the FUT side, gotta talk about Captain. You know, this guy, he's been the emotional leader for this team. He's kind of helped keep them focused when MrFaliN's out there making the calls. And you need that, right, Baby Bay? Like, as a pro player, you need players that just keep you focused on the game mentally, but also emotionally, because emotions can run high.
Yeah, 100%. I've always been a guy on every single one of my teams that has been like the hype man, you know, trying to keep everybody focused. And it's very important to do that, because if you don't do that, especially with a lot of these younger teammates that you can have, you know, a 13-9 game could turn into a 13-1 or a 13-0 sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, God forbid. But seriously, like, this game is so mental. I stress about it so much. It's such a swing of moods, and like, you just swing rounds. Like, you get one eco round, you can win like 3 more rounds in a row, right? Yeah. You could always win at any moment. So having somebody on your team like that can be that mental leader and be the good energy and be the good vibes, like, that goes a long way.
Yeah, even when they're losing, it seems like Captain is just like, oh, it doesn't even look at the scoreboard. He doesn't know. Like, I've seen them like get stomped in EMEA, and he's just sitting there like losing 10 rounds in a row, just smiling, just living his life. Like,
just vibing.
He's just a joyous guy, and having a presence like that on any team is such an asset.
Yeah, you definitely need it, and obviously it's going to come in handy, especially as these teams are going to be just throwing everything that they have out there on that stage. But earlier on social media, we actually asked you guys, for the MasterCard fan fan poll online. We asked who you think is going to be winning our opening matchup of today, T1 or FUT, and it seems like Mimi resounding T1, 66.2%.
Yeah, I'd say like 65-35 odds is about how I feel about this game going. Like FUT, I think there's definitely a chance of an upset here, but I think it is fair to say that T1 are the favorite. They beat EDG. They had a lot of closer games at Masters than FUT did, and I think showed us a lot more depth.
Yeah, well, that leads us to a little predictions, huh? How about that? We got a little bit of time to mess around with. Baby Bay, who do you think's winning this game today?
I think T1's going to win. I think it's going to be a 2-0.
2-0 T1. Just
2-0 T1.
Clean.
2-0 T1. Yeah, I just think that, like I said, I think Carby's going to have a hell of a tournament, and I just think that they're going to really bring it all together because they were so close to making out in Tokyo, and I just feel like they're a team that's just like hungry for that. Like we know what it tastes like. We were right there, and now we're gonna do better.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I just don't really see like in the map pool where there's going to be an edge that can be gained here for FUT. There's a lot of crossover in the maps that both these teams are comfortable with. Your Binds, your Havens, and their Lotus as well, which was always a map that FUT could go to and feel super comfortable on. I think teams really figured out how to beat that Neon comp, so I don't really see where FUT can get a leg up here to be able to pull off an upset against a T1 who I have a lot of confidence in getting better and stronger, even than what we saw at Tokyo during their time off.
Ah, so you think T1 top 4, huh? Right, Mimi? You're on the top 4 train with me, maybe?
Maybe. I think they make it out of this group. I don't know how much further they go.
I'm just so proud of myself right now, because I never get her to agree with me on anything, so there we go.
Honestly, if you say you won and people agree with you, they agree with you.
Ah, look at that. The power of being the host. Okay, so guys, look, we have our first match of the day. Crowd, are you guys excited for our first match of the day? They're awake. They're awake. Guys, we're here in Hollywood. We got all the stars. All the stars are out. We even tried our shot at the silver screen as well. Let's actually take a look at this because we figured, when we get into the Hollywood spirit,
what is this?
Isn't that right?
Oh no! This is a
bro. What is this?
Actually,
why do
I look like Bad Bunny right now?
Bro, you look like Gecko. Why did they make your hair green?
Mimi, I have to say, I never thought I'd ever see you in so much color.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. That's not me. I'm in my Oppenheimer outfit.
Very retro.
I can tell you though, I have eaten cotton candy that size before.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's not good.
How'd that go?
Well, it was a long evening. Let's just put it like that. But guys, this is it. You couldn't ask for a better way to kick things off. Wow. We have two teams that have been showing us so much, Mimi. This could very well be a blockbuster matchup if FUT is giving us their best today.
If FUT show up today, I think this very well could be a close matchup. T1 have constantly impressed me. I think they were the most improved team of the Pacific League, but with their second shot at an international event for both these teams, there's going to be such hunger to do more, to push further than just that one international win.
Yeah, and also like Baby Ray, I mean, I know where you said T1, but is there a potential path to victory here for FUT, and where do you see that?
See, there always is, and it's got to be from Etta Captain. Like I said, I think that T1's going to come out the gate really strong, and I think that he's going to be the one that needs to keep his team together and really bring them back into it.
Yeah,
Kiwi has also had a lot of inconsistency for this team in the past. If he's having one of his days where he really is hitting, he could be a big asset for this team to push it over the line.
Yeah, and that's really, like what you're hoping for here, right? You're really hoping that you're going to see this FUT team come out just really swinging, making sure that they're not leaving anything to chance here. But Baby Bay, you know that pressure. You know what it's like on that stage.
Yeah, you got to get Kiwi going, and whatever you got to do that, just do it. Because when your duelist starts off the game and starts popping off, man, it's just a whole different game. You don't have to really rely on a lot of the basic fundamentals and everything. So yeah.
Well, let's go, folks. We're ready to get this show started. FUT versus T1, EG versus FPX. It all starts right now.
나비 리퀴드 누가 올라올 것 같아?
나비가 올라올 것 같긴 해.
일단 나비에 좀 친한 애들이 있기 때문에 저는 리퀴드가 올라올 것 같아요. The feeling like we felt in Copenhagen tournament when no one was expecting from us like something. Just lose first game and just go home. VRX is a good team. Every time when we faced them, they were like insanely good.
제 목표는 있어요. 빨리 2승하고 한 5일 정도 쉬는 거예요. 어때요?
멋지다 고태가.
LA Champions. TRX win.
We're definitely gonna fight for our revenge against the Rays.
我们来冠军赛一路很坎坷。
我第一个想到的人就是我妈，她其实不太看好我打电竞，但是她也一直在支持我，然后关心我的身体。但是这一次我能前往 VALORANT 最大的舞台，我想把这个好消息告诉她。
For the last like year or two, the 3 core EG members, me, Com, and Jaw, got so much hate. No one believed in us.
Think we'll have crowd bias?
Crowd bias. I mean, we are in our homeland of Tokyo, guys.
Yeah, I don't really care what people say about me. It just fuels me.
怎么说？他们有亚军魔兽，拿了亚军的队伍都会一蹶不振。
我是不能觉得要忽视其他人啊，我觉得其他人还是得注意一下。
反正老话一句，输了不亏，赢了血赚。
I just want to keep winning for all the EG fans we do have, and for myself.
We are kind of fresh team right now. Underdogs is correct.
EDG massacring T1.
여기서 이제 보여줘야지.
Bu inanılmaz bir duygu. Aşırı heyecanlıyım. Aşırı stresliyim. Ama benim açımdan bu stresi yönetebileceğimi düşünüyorum.
걔네들 상대는 걔네도 교전 좋아하니까 교전에서 우리가 컨디션 너무 안 좋아서 지린 거 아닌 이상 질 일이 없을 것 같고.
Ben insanların yerinde olsam bizi küçük görmezdim.
Max, what about you? What do you think of like the teams here?
Honestly, just...
All right, let's get started. First of all, congrats on making it to Champs 2023 to both of you. But let's jump in. So FUT, you will be the first, the higher seed of the match today. So would you like Team A or Team B?
Team B.
Team B. So T1, you will be Team A. And we will get started with your first band.
Band split.
Band split. Your band?
Fracture.
Fracture. And so map number 1.
Pick Pearl.
Pick Pearl. Side on Pearl.
Give me a second. Defense.
Defense. Okay. Map number 2.
Haven.
Haven. Side on Haven.
Attack.
Attack. And we'll go with the next set of bands starting with T1. You have Ascent, Bind, and Lotus.
Band Lotus.
Band Lotus. Your band, you have Ascent and Bind.
Band Bind.
Band Bind. That would make map number 3 Ascent. T1 side on Ascent.
Defense.
Defense. Okay, so we're going to run through this really quick, make sure we're all good and set to go. First set of bands, we have T1 with Split, Foot with Fracture. Map number 1 is Pearl with Foot on Defense. Map number 2 is Haven with T1 on Attack. Next set of bands are Lotus and Bind. That makes map number 3 Ascent with T1 on Defense. Sound good? All right, good luck to you both today.
T1. FUT Esports.
We go. 2 teams that have showed us in Tokyo that they have what it takes to compete with the best, but now they need to go toe-to-toe against each other to decide who moves on in this bracket. It's FUT going up against T1.
FUT had their breakthrough. They got their win at Tokyo, but there's always so much pressure on this team's back. It's been a long time since there was a Turkish team competitive at international Valorant, and FUT has found that. The question is now of consistency and whether they can get a win here versus a T1 that has been on a constant upward trajectory this year, who beat EDG in Tokyo.
A fascinating circumstance, though, Baby Bay, is that T1 consider themselves underdogs here. And maybe underdogs in the entirety of the tournament, but in this matchup, I think they're coming into this one a heavy favorite. Wouldn't you say?
I definitely think they're a heavy favorite, and I think this map pool shows like it's going to be really good for them. Like I think even just them getting attack on Pro is really good. Like starting off and being able to set the tone and set the pace is going to be really big for their success in the series. And I mean, both teams are underdogs in this tournament in the grand scheme of things, but definitely T1 is the clear favorite for this matchup.
And one thing that's interesting about T1 to me is that they haven't changed a single composition this year. Well, they've added new things within those comps and have shifted their ideas at times. They've really committed to the same comps and really perfecting them. And I think part of the reason they've been able to do so, you look at another team like Fnatic who also hasn't changed the comp, it's because they can play really different styles within that same way. They can lean into that Korean style of the really fast executes that are well put together with great util usage, or they can really slow the game down, like you were talking about, Baby Bay.
Yeah, and having the players that they have that are very versatile in abilities. Hello, guys. They're waving to me. But yeah, having the Overwatch like aspect of like knowing these abilities and that chemistry and that camaraderie that they have is really important.
And here's your Prime Gaming Agent select, and we're already seeing, oh, we got is that a Brimmy? Okay.
Yeah, interesting comp here for FUT. This is very much a change fixated on new Pearl. You can anchor towards long B really easily now with only one smoke, and Brim lasts 20 seconds for each of them. So great stall in that department. Also another really strong ult that you can fixate on building towards. On the other side, Baby Bay, T1 have stuck to Harbor Viper. Well, a lot of teams have moved away from that.
Yeah, I mean, the Harbor Viper is just a consistent comp, just solid, you know, but I'm really interested in this FUT comp because it's got to be explosive, right? You don't have the Sky to be re-getting your info every now and then, right? You don't have that flash that will come back on a cooldown timer, you know? You have a dagger, but what info does the dagger really get you on this map, right? So I'm expecting a very explosive playstyle from them in a very post-plant heavy.
Yeah. As FUT often does, they're going to put a lot of pressure on Krax in this one. When he's solo initiator on KO, he's really strong at that role. But I think information and how they can shut down T1's mid-rounding is going to be so important because T1 is a squad that's really good at playing with the information.
Yeah, and if they have all of those, like, you know, subtle little advantages that are going to be playing into their benefit, yeah, I am actually very curious how this composition is going to work. Like, who is going to be that impact player? It's going to be quite fascinating, but Shrine, it's time to jump in to our first match of the day. And let's actually send it over to two guys who absolutely love LA. They might even move here. It's Mitch and Tom.
Well, apparently we've got a new home base to work from. I could deal with it for sure with the sunshine. The food's pretty good.
The weather's a bit better than England. Just as close.
Just a little bit, yeah. It'd take a preference for sure. Man, getting to see FUT out here, EMEA on the stage, up against Korea as well. T1. This is going to be a competitive game. Didn't expect to see the Brimstone, though, kicking off Pearl.
No, and I didn't expect to see the Haven pick coming out from FUT either. I definitely have to now agree with the desk and lean this series in towards T1's favor. But as we've learned in EMEA many a time, FUT are very good at sort of breaking those norms. In the early stages of the round, though, we're going to have to build up in towards that A site. Leading that charge, Carpe with the Tiger, and Saya's already in.
He's done well to find the first, but he's stuck inside those mollies and can't make his way out. A Nano Swarm kill onto Saya, and a blindsided swing. Hada Captain only gets one for his trouble, but the numbers, they stay in their favor as FUT control the site. The spike on the floor as well, and Munchkin has no idea on that final player. He spotted him now, but not able to adjust in time. The first round is for FUT.
Close off the back of it, though. I did feel like Munchkin was going to have an opportunity to maybe clutch that one out. Now, I want to mention a little bit why that sort of Haven pick was a little bit of a off-the-board one for me. If you look at the last few times we've seen it actually chosen by the side of FUT, they've been smashed out of it. So I'm hoping they're going to have some adjustments on that pick. But looking at Pearl already, it does seem like they've gone from differences with their comp. Now, obviously, bringing in that Brimstone is going to be one of those things to sort of delay potentially when it comes up to that B side. But I want to see how that might affect them with their more burst attacks when it comes to their attack, because that's the thing. A lot of the time we talk about Brimstone comps is you don't have those regenerating smokes anymore. So when you go for a hit, you have to be pretty damn committed to it.
Yeah, it can definitely be problematic later on into the game. For now, the lean from out of captains towards that A site. We've seen a lot of presence here from FUT in the pistol round. They had early rotations to this side of the map. And they're hoping that T1 will end up back towards A. Maybe a bit of a read into the tendencies, into the preferences of their opponent that so far seems to be paying dividends. With T1, sure, they're poking and prodding across the map, trying to find some presence. But they intend to finish things off on A. And already we've seen Munchkin dropped, trying to get a bit of info around that corner. They don't know how many players are up close waiting.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're going to have to try and sort of focus on throughout the map is where Krax is placing that knife, where he's finding that information, because a lot of the time you're going to lose control of certain spots. Of course, especially with that Killjoy, you can kind of lock down angles, as you can see on the map at the moment. With that mid control still being held onto, but they have given up a little bit of space. As you can see though from Moj,
30 seconds
is
left.
definitely aware of it, and for T1 now, they're starting to run out of time.
We'd spoken many times about the discipline of FUT in the regular season over in EMEA, and we're seeing it here very much under control as they don't overextend and offer anything. 15 seconds on the clock as the push comes through. Snakebite's good, but they can't follow up on the damage. And now a chance for that spike to actually be planted for these players who've waited out for the past 2 minutes to finally force some fights, and they're favorable to begin. A post-plant setup as well with Viper utility to play off of. FUT will find this difficult and starts by rooting out Sayaplayer, who's finding two! They're unable to do anything about this man, and now support comes in. The trade maybe not on time, but with 45 HP and 2 players left to take down, Krax is in a lot of trouble. He's trying to fight them, and he'll get both of those duels on an offer. On his plate, eaten up and 2-0, but hey, listen, that follow-up second round, not as clean as FUT would have liked.
No, not even close. If anything, T1 probably should have taken it. Like being left in what was a 1v3 scenario, Krax is able to pull one out of the bag, and again, that's one of the things we always talk about with FUT, is they have depth in these clutch players, but I still feel like it wouldn't be right to not highlight Sayaplayer. Like, he is always going to be an issue for teams. It's somehow being in the late round, even when he's playing those openers a lot of the time, and now with the rifles in, just look at the purchase from FUT. It's just going to be the Bulldogs and a couple of players, and the rest can't really afford to buy much more down because of how much they lost in the last round.
Yeah, this squad really not able to fight anywhere near the level that it looked like they would be beginning this. I love the utility from T1. A much quicker take towards B this time, strangling all of the space out of their opponent's control. And they're going to flash through to make the big play. And even then, it's not catching anyone. They've been fully pushed back by the util and the plant acquired.
Needing the heals for a little bit of help, and actually it's going to be Krax to get rid of Ban. Spike not quite being planted. Zed's aggressive position, he's got to be careful. There are multiple players just around this corner. The flash connects, but he's not going to aggress off it just yet, and MrFaliN is already going to put this into a further advantage. They need a bit of a hero, and the trades are fantastic, leaving Sayaplayer once again alone, and he's going to get cleared out. But they're going to make that work with 2 Bulldogs and 3 pistols, Mitch.
Well, that's kind of ridiculous. You know, the initial kill coming through from Krax, fair enough. He's just firing through the smokes. He knows there's a spot they're likely to have some foot traffic around, and he can take them down. But the fact that they come through with next to nothing backing it up, it was what, 2 Bulldogs? And then you're down to
3 Sheriffs, that was it.
And they're able to come out winning every single duel, and in some instances, maybe it's overextension from T1, having Zeta up close and going out for the swing, but even still, that's ground that I think he's entitled to fight for. A ridiculous beginning to this, and T1, they're going to start sweating pretty soon. They kind of allow FUT to just run away with this after a promising beginning.
Yeah.
They haven't got anything to work with in this round. It's going to be the same as before with B, just denying the info, taking the space.
So that's something I really wanted to look into with this team, is sort of why they struggled versus their opponents. And a lot of it came down to the opening duels versus the duelists on the other side. Kang and Artis having a field day versus T1. Kiwi, well, he's going to kick things off once again. Sayaplayer, though, he's there. And Ban's found one with a pistol. Every single round becoming competitive so far. Is this one going to settle on their side? And They almost managed to get rid of MrFaliN.
Yeah, that was the recovered rifle, and look at Saya. They got this orb to start the round out, got the Blade Storm online, and that has been rewarded tenfold. Just MrFaliN, 56 HP. And although he finds the first, he is left on
He lost 55.
That's a tough situation. Headshot needed onto Ban at least. They've got the angles here, a bit more damage, but that's all that will be found. As finally, T1 are on the board. Not in the round I expected it either.
No, again, there's a reason it's very easy to highlight Sayaplayer. The Blade Storm just taking over this one, and again, even with the changes to this map, we're seeing them very heavily lean in towards this B site. I feel like that's where the true strength of this Harbor Viper is. We'll see if they're going to have some adaptations to throw things into A, but if you look at where they're initially setting up once again, well, it looks like Moj might be about to come under the same pressure again this round.
Not by the looks of it, yeah. And they're not changing it up as the barriers go up. Same approach, the same old wall on its way. Jet following up on it. Saya looks to claim some more scalps. Look at FUT's response, falling back and indeed conceding the entirety of this site. Players in the spawn, and that's about as close as they're going to be. The same attempt at spamming through, and it's done some good damage. Yeah, Ban is down pretty low, but they can be healed. And safe to plant inside of that cove. Viper's pit down for the post plant.
He's going to stay in it, I think.
Yeah.
Lockdown being utilized, but he doesn't want to give up that pit. KO ult's gone through on the other side as well, so it will be the detain for Zeta. But he's able to hold on for the moment. Even still, though, initial frag goes the way of Kiwi's doing work, but Carpe just gets 2 through the pit. A little bit more for him as well. One more standing, a potential ace. But he's just playing passive this time, not looking to get over-aggressive. You know he wants that final kill. We'll hear the tap onto the spike, but it's not quite there. And Moj is going to try and close it, but instead, it's Sayaplayer. A huge round for Carpe, a highlight on the desk. And well, you've just witnessed the reason why.
Well, I think this is where FUT are going to start to get worried. That B site's being pressured again and again down B long. They're pushed out of B long. They're pushed out of B site. And on the way back through, the fights have not been pretty. And you got to give credit to Carpe, though. The fact that he's able to find that space, even checking on the spike, seeing that it's not being diffused. This round was entirely his. But on the back of Zeta, turning around and obviously tanking the lockdown, keeping the pit online and giving them that angle to fight from. They couldn't even punish him once he fell back into the corner. It's a really nice response from T1. And this time, a big difference from how this attacking side is approaching the early round. And in the same way, a big difference in FUT's approach. 4 players on B early. That has left them very light elsewhere on the map. And unfortunately, well, elsewhere is where T1 are bringing it.
Unless they're about to use an orbital strike to deny this, there's not really much they can put in the way. Now, to put things into perspective, FUT in the past, even before the changes, got the majority of their rounds on that defensive side. So the fact that this is already looking pretty good for T1, the map changes allow you to get more defender side rounds in general, with that side being easier to lock out with an afterplant already. It's a question of how much FUT actually want to throw into this one. Now, they do have a bit of reserve cash, and for the other side of things, it depends how many orbs you want to sort of hand over to T1, but that's a damn good start. Carpe gone.
Yeah, he tried to sneak past the smoke. A second player coming from this angle later. It's Munchkin, but he's going to be caught. Oh, but the shot doesn't hit. MrFaliN. Well, they've definitely stumbled on that play with Munchkin defending this tooth and nail. The lockdown will be destroyed. Just about, but look at the time that it's bought. That spike already diffused, ticking away quite far. It's half. They're going for it. They're trying to stick it all the way, but the spray from Ban saves the day.
Well, I was saying in the moment, is there going to be that use of the orbital strike? And I'll be honest, I said it in jest. I didn't think there was any way they were going to throw that ult into the late stages of the round, but with the heroics of MrFaliN being able to do so much initially, and then the aggression to actually get rid of that lockdown, there was a real chance. Luckily, Ban was on the case once again. Definitely someone within this T1 roster that I feel like has been given an unfair amount of flack. His Jet's pretty good as well. Unfortunately, we're not going to be getting Fractured today. But for now, at least, we end up level. This is where the purchase comes back in, though, and that's where the Kiwi operator becomes a threat. That B site a little bit easier to hold down, but once once again, we're now seeing T1 lean back in towards that A site. Real opportunities for a solid execute with all of the utility that they have, and Ban's util almost renowned for getting you into an afterplant.
Oh, much more shallow this time on the wall through, trying to link up with the ARC players and then push on the back of it. Sayaplayer will only get the one, and Carpe actually caught on the way through the molly, slowing them down on this and putting T1 in a pretty tough position. You still have a Viper's Pit to fight back in on the side of FUT. They need to take some space of their own, and that's exactly what they're looking for. Out of Captain in the corner, and although he's moving fast, he's not quick enough on his feet, but look at the HP of Ban. So incredibly low with Mods just trying to find him. And he'll locate that final kill, even save the op through to the next round.
Yeah, it wasn't bad from T1 considering how the initial fights went. Like, you obviously had the Reckoning thrown in, and there was one position that wasn't clear, but Ban was very much aware of it. But again, it just comes down to a couple of shots landed by Kiwi on the way back through, and solid utility actually coming out from FUT to sort of deny that initial space. They know that the composition from T1 revolves around afterplant. So you're going to use that cove, you're going to use the high tide to get you into position, and then just play those post plants with, snake bites, and everything that comes with the Killjoy kit. But if you don't allow them to get into that spot, which is something that FUT normally pretty good at, it can become a little bit easier for them. And now again, like, this is how close these rounds have been. 3 rounds in a row for T1, they lose 1, and financially in the bin. But I see Saya on a hero rifle, Mitch, and you know, there's always hope.
Well, that's kind of what you're talking about. Immediately starting the round off with aggression, and T1 have not been afraid to have those quicker starts to the round and pump the brakes later on. Now, a rifle potentially to be retrieved for this squad if they were to double up and move through this area, but actually, they're going all the way back to their spawn, moving around to B long, and sending Sayaplayer walking, well, by the looks of it, on a flank of his own.
He's going
He'll be seen, they'll check in on him a little bit later on. Kiwi, for now, has to move his way out of this B site. Concede control. That's been the name of the game for these B takes, but this time Kiwi has something to say about it.
Yeah, he's left a teammate behind as well. I don't think Krax was expected. The flank from Saya will dome 1, but the trades are coming back thick and fast. Krax has done an incredible job at the back of the site, and well, it comes down to Saya. He needs an ace to win this round. Doesn't actually know where his opponent is lurking. Krax hiding on the backlines, has spotted the other 2, but I think his life is on borrowed time. No, it seems like he read it for a second, but Krax has done the damage either way. A 4K for him, a little bit of a bait and switch in this round, and FUT are going to have their 5th on the defensive side. Now starting to build into it, as we sort of said.
You can see how scary this T1 squad is, though. I mean, if you imagine that was a full buy like we're seeing right here, not just the hero rifle for Saya, this guy managed to push straight up into door, grab an opening kill, and then had the flank as well.
The jet lurk.
It's literally just those players going on site don't have rifles. Krax has a better chance in most of the fights that he enters and is able to connect them. But one hiccup there, one stumble, the site falls, rifles are retrieved, your flank is still an issue late into the round, and FUT may have just stumbled on what was a very low buy. I think T1 can feel pretty confident with how they've been playing so far. This round here, though, another test. And that operator on Kiwi, it's caused a lot of trouble in the past. Pushing up on B, it won't be getting too much offered up just yet.
This as well is, again, we're starting to see that play through art. This is where, once more, we've seen MrFaliN put the majority of utility to try and hold on to some of that control. And it seems like, on the other side of things, the only goal, really, of Zeta is to play into that late lurk. The thing is, though, they're so confident in Kiwi's position. Almost caught floating through the air. And that's a big kill. Now things get a little bit panicky as the rest go pushing in towards that site. But Moj, as you said, has caught the spike.
Yeah, they went elsewhere. You know, that was just a flank on B. The lurk late into the round. Ban's up close, and they haven't spotted him. Good repositioning. Spike retrieved, and as we said, you had that flanker, that lurker later into the round. Still, they're controlling the B site. Zeta's got it on lockdown. They can move that spike around. They're doing so a little bit slowly. It is allowing FUT to rotate into position, maybe be close by. And it's not like Zeta has anything to catch them off guard here. He's very much just holding this map control so they can get the plant in late round. It's a good pivot, a good recovery. Munchkin, oh, he was so patient, but he's been spotted on the way back out.
I'm looking at that null command as well. Now they've spotted that flanker. Can potentially remove the util. The rest of the players, they know there's one in towards that backside, which likely means there's either one out towards long or back in on that lurk.
That's a great kill. They're starting to narrow down the angles, but they didn't know that Munchkin was still there.
No.
The ammo, the real issue here for Zeta. As Ada captain, definitely a smile on his face now as they are pushing that lead even further up.
Yeah, that literally just came down to a few bullets. Munchkin did an incredible job to find a couple of kills, but again, FUT are the ones on top, 6-3, and I'm not really surprised to see T1 pull in a tactical timeout, especially when you look at what they have on the board. 4 ultimates available, the Viper's Pit very close to being online as well. Even though this might be a weaker purchase for them in terms of their finances, this is one they can easily get things over the line.
Yeah, it's a good time to grab a breather. As we said, some of that early round aggression has been incredibly promising. So for this T1 squad, putting together the final pieces of the puzzle with 3 rounds left to compete for in the half, and it's certainly not out of their hands just yet. And as you said, Tom, FUT known for putting up those rounds on the defensive side. So this first half really is just about getting enough rounds on the board that it's workable when they swap over, when that defensive side is mounted.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible for them to turn the tide. I think for FUT, obviously, I think this composition kind of allows them to have a solid util for the retakes and a lot of delay potential, which can be quite hard to play up against. I am going to be intrigued to see how it works on the attack, because I feel like in classic FUT style, they're going to have to be very direct, because the brim doesn't really allow for much else, but there's still a few rounds to go in this half, and for T1, the thing that excites me most, I'm seeing a Blade Storm on Sayaplayer, which we've already witnessed once, is enough to win a round.
Yeah, and money problems, right? So you know for sure it's unlikely he's going to come through here with a full investment of anything crazy. Instead, it's going to be that Blade Storm look to try and recover on it. And that was one of the ways they got around on the board. Just his straight up aggression down B long, being able to completely mince up that defense. And look to do it again. Success found earlier around double doors, looking for more. But Kiwi's here this time, locking it down, operator in hand. They're wise enough to send out a Tiger first. It will meet that op shot.
That's almost a direct reaction to what he did last time. Like, they've seen him just burst his way through mid, so they've decided, okay, let's just put our most fearsome warrior there to hold on to those positions. Again, we're seeing this sneak up, this almost lurk through as they attempt to pincer in, and they've now spotted Saya in mid.
Yeah, at least 2 players coming from mid, and well, there were 2 coming from B long, but they've spotted them and taken them down. Maj up close is defending. And there's, wow, even players being dropped through the smoke. This couldn't have went much worse for T1. All of their info was found in the early round. FUT knew exactly what was happening, and their response was perfect. Seeing the majority of the forces coming through double doors, so they look for the fight on B long, and then they can pivot with ease.
So he's got to get past an alarm bot, a nanoswarm, a turret, and a second nanoswarm. And that's just to get to the site. Information to be had already, insta rotation back.
30 seconds left.
There's not really anywhere for him to go at this point. The main thing will just be, can he cause any extra damage? Can he maybe get a plant for the extra finances? It's really not a good scenario. And in terms of the money on the other side, a flawless round would be perfect for the side of FUT. But we'll see if they're going to get it. 10 seconds left. He has to just run in at this stage and hope that he can get absolutely anything, and it will be the Prime Gaming flawless coming through for FUT.
Yeah, of course he knew Ada Captain was there after the molly, so that's going to be the spot he's looking at. 7 rounds for FUT so far. It's been a very strong beginning to this map. Thing is, you know, sure, it's T1's map pick, but if they can at least push up to 5 by the end of this half, they've got the legs on them to stand tall as the series progresses, as the map progresses into half 2. Ultis are looking pretty good for the FUT side, though. Blade Storm locked down, the Viper's Pit to work with, as well as Orbital Strike. I mean, they've got a bunch to fight for, and this is T1's buy round. Don't want to leave anything on the table.
I like this, though. T1 just going back to what was working. Faster pace hits, sending in Sayaplayer as that initial fight, the Reckoning online. They've been farming up orbs throughout the game to get this all online just because of the space it builds up. They do have to be careful, though, because FUT have been very happy to just sit on the edge, spam through, and do so much damage, and it's worked out for them again. Carpe is going to be caught.
And the lockdown's traded out as well. that might force some of these players to take a step forward in some circumstances.
As well.
But they've decided to fall on back, concede that control.
I call this around the observer's nightmare.
Yeah.
It's just every single ult just being spammed into position.
Viper's Pit went down, but so did MrFaliN. They've got to get on this spike pretty soon to force players out into the open, and there they are. They've spotted the whole squad, but there's too many bodies to take down. T1 holding strong. They've still got that utility to play behind, but Maj has got the angle up top. The smokes holding off for just a few seconds longer. It could be long enough. Kiwi's close, and he'll get it across the line. Oh, a devastating round for T1 as the defuse right under their nose puts 8 rounds on the board for the side of FUT. Their defense looking undeniably strong.
I don't even know how many ults we saw in that round. I think it was all of them. Every single ult is now gone. Everybody invested absolutely everything. We saw Reckoning, Viper's Pit, lockdowns traded out. Both teams wanted this round more than absolutely anything, and FUT, they literally get it over the line off a defuse within a smoke. A Brimmy smoke at that, so I mean, no, they lost a while, but 8-3. I think many expected T1, especially on their map choice, to come out swinging, and they are getting decimated. What a shot by Kiwi to start. These rounds may have been close, but the scoreline definitely isn't.
He's been a menace with that operator early round, but hasn't needed to do a whole lot. It's players like Maj, like Captain, pulling it out later on. Krax, who's been an animal for spraying people down through smokes, well, he's finally gotten a little bit of karma coming his way. Flash ready. Carpe wants to punish. They know there's a player there, and they'll catch him through the wall. Great prediction from Carpe. And Kiwi not able to hit the shot with the op. Too many targets. All out in the open. He's got cover this time. A player up close, ready to help, and well, his help will certainly be needed. MrFaliN, is he going to swing out to realize these players have given up the control? Yes, they've moved towards the stairs where the spike is dropped. Maj has the cross, spotted both on the way around, and now they can just hold this together, or maybe not. They separated. Munchkin isolates. 40 HP and 4 bullets. The spike down towards the stairs. He has to move. And in fact, it's his opponent that's moving first. Maj repositioning, maybe knowing that the spike is there, that he can catch it timing.
It's just all about the bait. Maybe expecting to be surrounded. Now Munchkin's going to be the one to go that little bit further forward, hoping to find his opponent, but eventually he has to make his move, has to go for this plant, and he's not going to be expecting him to be in that same position, desperately trying to find out where Maj is coming from, but instead he's just wrapped back into exactly the same spot, and he will land the shot. The only thing stopping FUT from dominating in this map is the curse. And well, to be honest, Mitch, it depends how much you believe in it.
That is a masterclass from Maj as well, closing out that in positioning in the 1v1. Beautifully played, and now 9-3 at the half for the side of FUT. This couldn't have went much better. I mean, hell, even some of the rounds that T1 getting off the back of individual prowess, someone like Saya on the Bladestorm tearing it up. Kiwi, Saya head-to-head, not as impressive as you thought. Wow, see what the desk makes of this lead.
Thank you so much for that, fellas. And wow, FUT defying all expectations with a hot start on Pearl. But let's jump straight, though, to our Verizon high-speed moment, because you got to give it to Captain. This guy has been absolutely amazing this game. And Baby Bay, I think that, you know, we were talking about it before, being that emotional leader. We're also seeing him frag.
I mean, yeah, imagine just peeking and one-tapping somebody. But it's not even just that. It's like, obviously getting a 3K as the emotional leader is great and all, but the utility to isolate the guy from backhaul and to be able to take this fight in general and just get the trade right here after. It's beautiful. Then he wins the 1v1, right? And who better than having it be your you know, spiritual leader in the game? Look at him, he's hyped. He's already hyped, going crazy on him. So
massive to have that guy online, getting the energy up for this team. But baby, we were both talking about how good T1's mid-rounding was in the pre-match here. But for T1, so much of this map was just these hard executes. It was super passive from FUT, always playing into these flood retakes. And I think it just worked so well with this Brim comp. It almost plays really similarly to the Icebox Brim comps that we used to see last year. And I think the player in particular that is finding strength in a lot of those situations has been Krax. We had questions of how this KO would play against mid-rounding, but they never really had to do that. Instead, it felt like T1 was letting FUT play into the strengths of this comp, which was these flood retakes with the Brim smokes going up and the KO flashes to get out.
Yeah, T1 didn't try to bait really much of any utility in that half, and it's like you have the Sky, you have the Harbor to take all these things like slowly and try to bait out those Brim smokes because he only has 3, right? And even the KO flashes, he only has 2 flashes and 1 knife, right? So it's like I don't know why or what, but maybe they thought they had a hard read and they got countered a bit.
And now they have this massive advantage at the half, 9-3. They converted the bonus to begin. They've looked good on pistol rounds in the half. T1 is going to have to do something huge to rally here on the defensive side, but New Pearl is quite defense-sided.
Yeah, well, let's see if 9-3 is enough and send it back to the casters.
9 rounds so far, starting this out, as we've heard. FUT in prime position to close this out. T1's map pick, though, and now they're on the defense, a side where I think they'll be a little bit more comfortable. Saya's been looking good all the way through. There's certainly some signs of hope. The fact that so many of these rounds have come close as well. They're not down and out just yet, but they're certainly down for now.
I like that.
Starting out this pistol.
It's an insta KO nade just to try and clear that corner as they peek into mid, hoping to try and force someone out into the fight and almost bait their opponents into believing that that's the direction they've gone. In fact, instantly Carpe's going to have to use the Skydog, the Tiger, to clear out some position. The fact is, though, T1 have a great read here.
Yeah, Sayaplayer's flank should be perfect, but it's going to take a while to come through. The players on site will have some trouble holding it down. One wall goes through. This is going to section them all around the backside. Low HP, though, on Munchkin. He doesn't really want to fight, but it'll be forced on him anyways. Good opening for Kiwi. Just look at Sayaplayer. He snuck past the turret. He put his cloudburst up, and now they have no idea that he is sneaking his way through. That's an awkward fight. It's bought time, given an opportunity. Perhaps Kiwi can win that fight now if he wasn't crunched on, if there wasn't support here to play with. We're back down to a 2v3. Low HP on a lot of FUT players. The spike has to be defused, and time is on their side. They can swing out one at a time, or they can go all together. Double digits found for FUT.
Yeah, that might just be the nail in the coffin for map number 1. For so far ahead, and even this round where there was multiple players within the site, it just seems like they did a better job of being able to trade out those kills. Moj as well, just having an absolutely star-studded performance. I believe normally playing the Killjoy more so on this map, but his Vipers look damn good. Well, maybe just more so on the individual side of things rather than purely off the util. 10-3 up. Not going to be much of an investment at all. A Marshall thrown in, a chance for Saya to maybe do a little bit of damage. On the other side, it is just going to be this almost trap setup into B.
Now we'll see if the reward is there. A kill, just one to be found to start this off. The Marshall already going to be eliminated. That is very little fight in the side of T1 for this round. At least Munchkin's able to grab another kill, make it more costly. But with 30 HP, his chances of doing that again are pretty low. And for the side of FUT, inching ever closer to victory on their opponent's map pick, you do have to wonder for Munchkin, maybe that Bulldog, it could even be worth bringing it through to the next round, but being so far behind, maybe they'll put stock in the 1v3.
Yeah, at this point, he's going to be able to buy a Vandal Phantom in the next round anyway, so might as well just throw this one in for some extra damage. Maybe try and get an AWP, but Kiwi is ready and waiting. 11-3. FUT taking this one further and further away from their opponents, and if there was going to be any fight back, Mitch, it kind of has to be now. And you know what? Good time for a pause.
Yeah, this is going to be another T1 timeout. That's running dry on that side. Means they've got to make the comeback happen from this point forward pretty flawlessly without help from the coaching staff, unless FUT decide to have a word. It's going to be tough looking at this situation because it is definitely a series where 11-3 does not feel like a fair scoreline, not representing the level of fight that T1 brought to the table, but they just weren't able to close out those rounds, and that's what's going to leave you here.
It's an interesting one because by all expectations, this is going to be a rematch of the decider. Like, everybody sat there going, okay, EG are going to take this group, FPX are going to finish last in this group, and the other two teams are going to fight twice. Like, that's the way this kind of sits right now. So for FUT to be dominating this far ahead, it definitely makes things a little bit more interesting, seeing if they'll maybe come up against EG a little bit later on. But I think for both of these teams, coming into this tournament, a real opportunity to make it top 8 at Champions. I think that's something that they need to grasp with both hands. And for T1, wow, this being their map choice, this being somewhere they felt would be a home turf versus FUT, and being smashed in the way that they are, There needs to be a bit of a response here, and with the rifles on board, this is where you hope they'll step up.
Yeah, and as well, you know, recent memory for T1 on the international stage, certainly not great, although you can say that for a lot of these teams coming in, but a squad that beat EDG and then was eliminated by them shortly after.
Yeah.
Demolished, exactly. And so they're looking for their own little story this time around. The A site is under threat. FUT already having dashed in, taken space. There's some weaknesses here. 2 pistols in play.
Do they Viper's Pit?
The rifles taking the fight, and Munchkin who's winning them. A quick double, and this could be the best chance for T1 so far. The only downside is that Viper's Pit.
Yeah, they've actually used it. Even in this scenario where they're down a couple of men, well, make that just one. Moj just managed to find another. The Snakebite will buy some extra time, but he is not sitting still. He's gone moving all the way around. A decent position held, though, by Carpe. Just waiting on the other side, trying to find an entry back in, but Moj has found him as well. Having a lights-out game so far. Finally, Munchkin will respond, and now it's left all onto MrFaliN. Only a pistol in hand, but some low HP players, not this time, though. The time ticking relatively low, but they will be able to get themselves their 4.
They will indeed. Another round on the board for T1, and at long last, this could be the start of their way back in. But, you know, the weaponry wasn't the best on the side of FUT. Sure, they use a Viper's Pit, but this time they'll come in with full rifles, and the real test is about to be there for T1 as well. This opening from Munchkin, you can't rely on that happening every single time, but it looked good.
I think the other thing as well is just you're seeing the sheer confidence that FUT have on the stage. That they have always been a team that once the momentum is rolling, they could beat anyone. Like literally anyone. They've taken maps off Fnatic over in EMEA when they played them in one of the earlier series. So the fact that they were in a 3v5 throwing in a Viper's Pit kind of proves to you that the confidence is overflowing at this stage. And now you kind of look at the buyback on the other side. Sure, you have that Blade Storm again. Carpe's weaponry a little bit lower. We'll see what FUT had to offer. A little bit of a slower default. A lurk held by MrFaliN, just watching for any space being taken by that defensive side. And it has been. Mid is where the pressure is currently being spotted for. And Mozetta is definitely going to see that smoke utilized and have a little bit of extra info for his team.
Killjoy utility pulled back. I thought maybe that'd be the window for Sayaplayer to go on that flank he's been waiting for, but instead shifting back towards the B side. The orb was taken, and so MrFaliN had the lockdown to work with. It's on the floor to buy them space on B. Oh, space that will be undeniable as they waltz their way into this site. Choice of where to plant is very much theirs. They still haven't gone for the plant yet. I mean, there's a lot of time for this T1 squad to get back in here, go for spams, especially with such an open plant spot. It's worked out, but you're going to be caught by the flash on the way through. Players spotted moving towards the elbow. That's where T1 wanted to fight for a moment, but Zeta and Carp both down. Ban falls too. Blade Storm blinded in the open, and that is only going to leave Munchkin. Had some great rounds already, but not this time. It would be a miracle to pull out that 1v4. 12 on the board for FUT. And they now have 8 chances to close out their opponent's map pick. Haven up next. And, well, look, we got a lot of questions about Haven, actually. But Ascent as a closer, that's a Turkish map if ever I've seen one.
God, well, the fact that FUT are happy to go back to Haven after losing it 3 times in a row says that what we're going to see in the next map, well, I'm hoping we won't see their Gecko. I'll be honest with you. I'm hoping that's gone. But the fact that this is as dominant as it is, I think, is more surprising to anyone. We've had some crazy games yesterday, incredibly close ones at that, but this has been anything but. 12-4, a build into this B site once again. The weaponry even worse than the last time out. Munchkin sat at the back of the site with a lockdown and a judge. The rest of the team nowhere to be seen. In fact, Saya's gone all the way up mid, but he's going to be no help in this round.
Now Walkabout going to take a while to come through. Player like Munchkin may be able to find value if someone from FUT overextends.
Oh,
what was that? A collateral? Oh, well, now that judge is certainly looking a little worse for wear towards this elbow. They're going in, though. They've given him the control, and the fight is his. The lockdown online. And he can defend this. Pushing back in's not a good idea. In fact, they won't get anywhere close to it. Kiwi caught in the open. And we're back down to not just the way back through for T1, but the man advantage to work with as well. It won't last too long without a captain. The trade out is good for MrFaliN, and he'll close it at that. FUT with 13-4. Their opening map in Los Angeles could not have gone much better. If this is a sign of what's to come, it's going to be a pretty quick series.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I came into this tournament looking at the first couple of days, looking at the matches that we had, and I thought, okay, this is going to be the most competitive of the lot. Two teams that finished in a similar position in Tokyo, two teams that basically looked like they were at a similar level. And, well, FUT have come in and, let's just put it this way, one team was better from head to foot. They absolutely destroyed them in this map. Moj having an incredible map, and someone like Carpe, I believe Carpe got a 4K in one of the rounds. He got a single kill for the rest of the game. This needs to be a big turnaround for them going into map number 2.
Oh yeah, a completely different squad needs to walk out on that stage. A 13-4 scoreline, it's not something that any team wants to see. Even if that's your perma-ban, you'd expect a little more coming out of them. And that's a big deal now for this squad of T1. As they go backstage to discuss their opponent's pick of Haven, the final map of Ascent that might be played out. There's going to be a lot of notes given from the coaching staff. And to be honest, you know, some of these rounds were incredibly close, like we said, but
it started that way in some of the earlier. Like, there was a back and forth. It seems like all of the clutches were going FUT's way, other than like maybe a blade storm coming out from Saya. Either way, I think we're going to be throwing this one off to the break. We'll be back to map number 2.
When you play an actual ranked game, it's 50 minutes, but how much are you actually shooting? With AimLabs, you can compete in over 1,000 tasks that will prepare you for any scenario in any game. So the new ranked season, you play, you get points, you can compare yourself to your friends. With AimLabs' new one-to-one Valorant maps, you get instant feedback on how to get better crosshair placement, better peak efficiency. You can also instantly modify existing tasks with Discovery. Get started today by downloading AimLabs for free and join millions of other satisfied players.
Red Bull gives you wings.